Okay. We had to stop for just a minute because business called. And all of a sudden you got busy and you guys are shorthanded, so you had to take care of your paying customers, which is very important. Where we left off, Ben, was your family came out here quite often, and you and your brother help me with his name.
Aaron,
thank you.
We brought some of my other brothers down here, and my dad, and it was the first time that my dad had really seen the region. Even though those boys have been coming down here for a while, and then he finally got what we loved about the area. Because really, at first sight, you love it or not. I mean, it's either for you or it's not. It's just. Yeah, it just hits you so strong. The beauty, the raw beauty of this place. So my dad was like, "Okay, I can see what you guys are talking about now."
So you're hitting them up for wanting to buy this already?
It had been the subject of campfire discussions, pipe dreams for a while. But now we were interested in talking turkey. And so we got my dad involved, and then it still took us about 2 years of negotiation.
Yeah.
Because we were negotiating with the operator, and it was just really weird. We actually ended up having to go to the landowner and shake that loose in order to make the whole deal happen. And so it took us a little while because we'd make an offer on the published price, and then the operator would come back with a counter offer that was higher than his published asking price, and it was like, what's going on? But like I said, we finally got things in motion and signed the deal in late February 2006, and March 1st 2006 we took over operations, and it's that first year is a little bit like that first year of having a child. You just don't remember any of it. Personally, I think it's nature's way of making sure you have more kids.
Understood.
But I just, we worked really hard on short sleep, and there was a lot of deferred maintenance here. In fact, the day after we bought it, the health inspector showed up to shut the restaurant down.
Really?
There had been some orders that he'd given that had just been ignored. And Inyo County doesn't like to shut businesses down, but they also don't like public health hazards. So
did they take into consideration you're the new owners
And I had talked to the health inspector beforehand to kind of get an idea of what we would be up against when we hit the ground, and he was like, "Oh, you're Ben," and so he was like, "Well, considering you guys are taking this over and you haven't had much time, I'll give you guys a month. I'll be back. Great. These are the things that I want to see, some action taken on. Obviously, you're really busy. These are the have-to-haves. These are the things I'd like to see. These are the things I need you to get to at some point in time." Mm-hmm. And so it was, that was great that he gave us that kind of leeway and the time to make some change that needed to happen here.
Well, just so people know what you're dealing with here, I mean, the term off the grid sometimes is overly used. A lot of times, off the grid to people means I've only got 2 bars of cell service on my phone.
Yeah.
You guys are really off the grid.
Yeah, I mean, we might be one of the most remote locales in the lower 48.
Well, for example, where do you get your electricity?
We get our electricity from burning diesel fuel and diesel generators. So, we've got to always have at least 2 diesel generators on hand operational in case one hiccups. I mean, you're running an engine 24/7. Basically, stuff's going to go wrong from time to time. So, that has been a huge expense. I get the question a lot. Have you ever thought about solar? And when I'm feeling really plucky, I'll be like, no, it's never occurred to me.
Well, the desert, because the sun shines all the time, right?
Yeah. So
except for maybe after 8 o'clock at night.
well, and when you're on the grid, when you have some kind of grid to tie into, solar's really easy to put in.
Exactly. You throw the switch and now you go to the grid.
Yeah, or you just supplement and
Right.
you just take less from the grid. There's a couple of different ways you can do it.
Or you just sell your energy to the grid.
Right.
Yeah.
But here, we would actually, in order to realize any, with our old generator infrastructure, and really we got a new generator infrastructure right before COVID hit, so we haven't really fully been able to like take advantage of it. But before that, we would have had to have shut the generator off in order to see any ROI on the solar cells.
Yes.
Because the difference between idle speed and full speed was only about 25 gallons.
Okay.
So we're talking 75
Per-
gallons
per-
burned day for 24-hour period. So we're talking like
How many gallons do you use in a 24-hour period?
well, right now because of these new generators, we're burning only about 75 gallons
A day.
a day.
At how much a gallon?
It's that changes by market, but right now I think it's somewhere around $3.25.
Yeah, it costs a lot of money to run electricity here.
Yeah.
Just
So
keep the lights on.
2008 was the worst year. There were days where it cost me over $450 in electricity per day. So, but that was a bad year. 2008 was a tough one. But
Fuel costs were higher then too.
fuel costs were higher, and they spiked dramatically at the same time that the economy just tanked out.
Right.
And I thought that was going to be the toughest year I'd ever seen.
Well, and water, and water, where you get your water.
Yeah, so water, we're really fortunate. So the place is named Panamint Springs, but as I talked about before, the springs dried up in 36. So we actually get our water from nearby Darwin Falls. In 1937, I think it was, the Reeds got rights to pull from the Darwin Falls system, and they put in a nearly 5-mile long pipeline that we still use today.
And you can see that running along 190 here.
Yes, it's an overland pipe, which has its benefits because when you have a break or a leak, it's easier to find.
You can see it.
But it also has its negatives, which is it's a lot more susceptible to the temperature differentials between night and day. And at some times of the year, those are pretty extreme. So spring and fall, our busiest time with Americans, is also our most problematic time with the pipeline, because the temperature differentials can be 30 to 40 degrees a day versus like the 20, maybe 25 degrees that we see in the summer.
Now I see the pipeline coming in. I see the reservoir at the top of the hill. So I'm guessing is it gravity feed from the falls to the reservoir?
It is a brilliant design. It was updated. The pipe has always been gravity feed, but they used to just gravity feed it and use it. I guess maybe boil it. But Jerry Graham, the previous operator, put in some sand filters, and so we're actually overseen by the state. I've got a water treatment certification. We've got to make sure that we meet the clean water standards for California and the clean water standards for the federal government because we're serving it to people.
So what comes out of here is fully potable water.
Fully potable water, and really actually some very tasty water. A little high on the pH, but that seems to be the rage right now. You can go into the store and buy 8.4, 8.3. Ours is just naturally 8.2. So
at no extra charge.
At no extra charge, electrolytes included.
Very good.
But yeah, so that's 5 miles of overland pipe to bring the water here to the property, and then cutting edge technology for the 1800s, but still actually really useful still the best technology for us based on the variable flow through that pipe. It's sand filtration, and then it goes through a chlorination pump that chlorinates based on the flow that's coming out of the filters, which is based on the flow coming from the canyon, and then that goes into the reservoir that you see. So,
And no chance of the falls drying up.
well, they've been going for a while, and they
Okay.
go pretty strong.
Okay.
It's pretty unlikely that they'll dry up, but it is a
If you
fairly
have- if you-
tectonically active area.
Yeah, you have an earthquake and it's gone.
Yeah. So, but there are several springs that feed into that system. So,
So if you
China
lose
Spring
one,
is just
you
the
still
first
get
one.
another one.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Yeah, we hiked up to the falls in April when we were here last time. And you just see the pipe all along. And you see it, it's funny because the pipeline will run and then there's all kinds of growth underneath because drip, drip,
Yep.
drip. At least just a little bit, but enough to bring the flora and fauna alive.
Yeah. And some of that is if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Sure.
Because when you're talking about 5 miles of gravity feed pipe, you fix an area here. Now all of a sudden the pipe loads up a little bit
You
more.
change your resistance.
Change your pressure.
Yep.
You change the weight. You change the balance, and you can cause a problem somewhere else.
Yeah.
So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We say a lot in relation to the pipeline.
Do you have to walk that pipeline every once in a while?
Yeah, mostly we take motorcycles.
Okay.
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 A little 250 or something.
Okay.
The 125 is pretty good for it too, because we've got a road that goes pretty much directly beside that pipeline, all the way up to where we collect below the falls.
Yeah.
So,
Just it just takes so much money just to keep this place running.
oh, it does. My overhead's just insane. And then communications. So we've talked about water, we've talked about power, but communications are tough too. There's no lines coming into this place at all, underground or overground.
You have satellite phone, I believe, right?
Right now we're doing IP telephony over satellite, but we've got one phone.
And that's down at the gas station.
Down
right?
at the gas station.
That's who I talk to when I make the reservation.
Yep. So and
your
it doesn't work all the time.
Yeah, your website even says, "Hey, if it doesn't work, we don't always have service. Try back again, please."
Yeah.
And I've done that before. No one answers. It doesn't work. So I call back half an hour later, and someone picks it up. It works great.
Yeah.
It's it's just an amazing place. The fact that you've done so much with just this, and you've got brand new cabins now.
Yeah, I mean they're a few years new.
I call them new.
Yeah, they're in relation to everything else around here, they're spanking new.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we had those. Actually, we contracted them to be built in Idaho, and then they were shipped down here. But they are really nice. They're really thermally sound. They're not big. They're small, but we did that on purpose because we wanted to make sure that we had a place for the people that temperature was the big thing. Right. So those rooms were designed so that no matter whether it's 30 degrees outside or 115, you can set your heater or your air conditioner, and the room will get to that temperature and hold it.
Exactly.
So, and we compensated the smaller indoor space with a large outside gated patio. Each one of those rooms has its own covered patio. So I really like those rooms. They've got a lot of the benefits of camping, but all of the benefits of getting out of the elements.
My goal for 2021 is going to be to convince the trophy wife to come and get I think you call it the miner's cabin. Is that the one right
Yes.
on the point?
Yeah.
To come and stay there because she's been here and I said, I'll take you to a nice resort where the weather's warm. She said, not the Panamint Spring Resort. It's not a resort. I said, yes, it is. It's wonderful. It's great. This miner's cabin is really outstanding.
Oh yeah.
So my goal
it's
is
great.
before I leave tomorrow, I'm going to talk to the guys down at the gas station, ask for a key, and take pictures and show her.
Yes.
And I hope to be here in 2021 with her.
I think we should have pictures of that also on our website.
I've shown her the pictures on the
Okay.
website. She doesn't trust them.
Gotcha. Okay.
and I've looked in the windows, and they're great. There's it's just as advertised.
Yeah.
But if she sees them on my phone, she'll be convinced.
All right. And we were supposed to be breaking ground on a pool right now. We did a lot of realignment in 2019, and really refocused on the most important things here, and it was working really well. created a really great business plan.